Hello, families, and welcome to a walkthrough of the distance learning expectations for Thompson this year. We're hoping this gives you a good idea of what the year will look like for distance learning, but please know additional information will be coming out as we continue to go through the year. So, real quick, we're going to look at distance learning versus remote. So, this is for families who are elected for distance learning all year, and also for those families where your child will be attending remotely on the days they are not in school. So, we're also going to talk about the schedule and parent portal. We're going to look at classroom routines, tech support, student expectations, a review of some Google apps, and other tools. So, first up is the distance learning schedule. We think it's very important for families to know that if you chose distance learning at this time, we were able to place your student in a section. So this ensures that all of our students stay in stable groups for throughout the year. So to explain that a little more, our school runs on clusters, and in each clusters there are 4 sections where students have their math, science, social studies, and English language arts classes. So in order to keep things safe, we put one of those sections for distance learning. So when those 60-day students return, they're going to return into that classroom and stay with that same teacher in that same section, learning with the same students they've been working with. And that also allows us to keep the other groups stable. And so if kids come back after 60 days, they're not entering a stable group that we've created for the past first part of the year. Another great part about your student staying in the section with all those other distance learners is that they're going to be able to function as one unit and develop some shared norms and routines. Classroom culture is a really important aspect of learning. In order to build a culture, you need to be working with your same classmates all year and your same teacher. It just builds a great culture of respect and understanding between everyone. So your student in the distance learning section is going to rotate, like I said, through all those cluster teachers, just like the other 3 sections in their cluster. It is the same academic material, the same classes, the same teachers. We want to make sure that is very clear for everyone that it is the same classes and teachers that they will have and content. So again, that's 3 content classes plus 1 elective. So this year, electives change every quarter. There's a quarter where your student will have music, a quarter where they'll have art, a quarter where they'll have health, and a quarter where they'll have technology. In between classes, there's a 10-minute break. So that is super important from all the research to have breaks from the screen. We've built those breaks in for the in-person and for distance learning. So the in-person kids who are in that classroom all day can get up and have a stretch break, and those kids who are at home can look away from the screen, get up, walk around for a minute, and then come back refreshed and ready for their next class. For distance learning students, lunch is also unsupervised. There is not a teacher who is sitting watching students have lunch at home. That is a time when students are responsible for themselves and families are responsible for their students. PE teachers are also going to be sending 2 PE assignments per week, in addition to those classes that I already spoke about. So to access your child's schedule, you're going to, if you were a parent at TMS before, you're going to get an email with instructions on how to open up your student's schedule. And if you do not remember how to get into the system called the parent portal, you should email parentportal@npsri.net if you cannot log in. So you'll get an email on Friday with that information. New parents are going to be sent an email late tonight, Thursday night, with instructions on how to set up that parent portal Aspen account. Then they will get that same second email with how to view their child's schedule. All students will get an email sent to their school email address late tonight as well on how to set up their student portal. So what this allows is students to have constant access to their schedule and parents to have constant access to their schedule. And throughout the year, you'll also want to use the portal to check grades and check report cards at the end of each quarter and progress. Again, if you have any questions about the parent portal after you see the emails that have come out on Friday, if you're not able to access, please email parentportal@npsri.net for support. So in addition, we just want parents to remember that The schedule that we're sending that you get through the parent portal is just your child's classes. We're also going to be following up with an email that reminds you of what group your child is in, whether they're the in-person A group, the in-person B group, or whether you chose remote learning for 60 days, first semester, or full year. And in that email, we're also going to share our bell schedule, which tells you the times for each classes. So one schedule tells you which class you're in, the other schedule tells you what time classes are. So when you're at home following that remote schedule, you're going to need to log into students will need to log into their Google Classroom page. So all students are being invited by this Friday at 2 p.m. to access those Google Classroom pages so that on Monday, our first day of school, September 14th, they will have the link to enter into their classroom. They'll have the bell scheduled to know what time period they're supposed to go, and they'll have the teacher scheduled to know which class they're having at that time. A lot of times, teachers are going to be checking in with students through Google Meets to assist them, and they'll be using the chat function as well. Google Classroom is also where all assignments need to be turned in and where they'll be getting a lot of feedback and some potential grades from parents. So we're asking all parents on Friday to check with your student and make sure that they receive those Google Classroom invites from their teachers. It's really important that they check those and know which classes they have and can enter them on September 14th. So please check with them that they had those and they accepted those invitations. So our expectations for students who are in the distance learning environment is that they show up to class on time. When we have kids who are in the classroom and then kids who are not in the classroom, or we have a whole class of kids who are not in the classroom in the case of our distance learners, it's really important for the teacher to have some continuity in the flow of their lesson. And it's really important for all the other learners to have that same progression. So we have to be able to start class on time with everybody present so that we can run through all of our lessons in the time that we're given. When you're at home, it's really important to have a charged and ready Chromebook. And because kids are going to be going home and in person, or some kids are going to be home all the time, it's really important that you have that charged and ready Chromebook ready first thing in the morning. So we really suggest that you find a place every night, a safe place to put that Chromebook, plug it into the wall, and have it charged up and ready to go. We're also asking our distance learners and our remote learners to have any other materials ready that they may need. So we recommend finding a nice quiet place with the small study area where where a student can have their Chromebook, they can have a pencil and paper, and anything else they might need to do their best for their lessons in the day. We are asking all students to wear appropriate attire when they are remoting into their classrooms, because we're asking all students to have their camera on. It's really important for building classroom relationships and in order for people to see each other. And it's really difficult for teachers to be able to assess students and what they're working on or how they're feeling around a subject if they can't see them. So our expectation is that students do have their camera on when they're getting into their classrooms for the first time. We ask that all students mute themselves until they have a question. They can always raise their hand and the teacher can see, but we prefer that a lot of the times we use the chat function. While using the chat function in their Google Meets, then they will be able to ask questions that the teacher will be able to address when they have a moment. We're also asking the students have appropriate behavior at all times when they're in the classroom. Again, please turn in all assignments through Google Classroom. Finally, follow directions for work time, checking in with the teacher. What that means is teachers will have directions for students at different times to have to work on different activities. And our expectation is that in that side of that classroom with those different activities, that students are following the directions for that particular amount of time. So that was a lot of steps for us to run through over our expectations. We just want to reiterate, we're sharing this out at the very beginning, and it'll be followed up with teachers will follow it up, and we will follow it up, and we'll also work through a lot of what we can expect to be some kinks in the first week. and we're going to provide as much more information and support as we can. We want this first week to be about rituals, routines, and students and teachers and classmates creating relationships and getting to know each other after a long time of being away. So this first week is really about just getting settled, getting comfortable with the routines, getting comfortable with these expectations, getting comfortable with your schedule, and knowing when your classes are and when to attend. So relax when it comes to Monday, do your best, and remember these most important steps. Create your parent portal account and your student portal accounts in Aspen. Look at your your students' teachers to get to know their names on their schedule. Have your student accept all their Google Classroom invites. Check the email we're sending with your registration status to ensure you know your student is in the A group, the B group, or signed up for remote learning or distance learning. Help your student prepare a space to work from in your home or in a safe pod. And ask your student how that first day was at the end of September 14th and if they need help with anything. Again, these first week of classes are all about establishing routines and building community. If you end up with any technical difficulties, either with Wi-Fi or your Chromebook, please send an email to helpdesk@npsri.net. The help desk is available in both English and Spanish. You can also reach them at 401-619-5362. Again, please remember to charge your Chromebook. It is vital that your student comes with it charged in the morning. We highly suggest charging it every night so it has that full time to power up. If you have any issues with logging into your Chromebook, please remember it's your student's first name, last name, and the year that they graduate. And that is the same for how they would sign into Gmail if you're using your own device and they need to log into their Google Classroom, log into their email, or log into a Google Meet. We had a technology night for families last week that went over a lot of the Google apps. That is posted on our website. Please check that out, and we will provide, as the year goes on, some more support with those resources for families. So thank you very much. We hope you have a great weekend, and we really look forward to seeing your student on Monday in class, ready to shine, ready to share, and ready for a good year.